everyone, my name is Cynthia. Let's talk books. Today I have a haul. And it is the books I've been buying in the last couple of months, which has included my birthday. So yeah, I actually didn't go as crazy as I go in other years, but I still have quite a few books to talk about here. So let me just get started. The first book that I have here is My Time Among the Whites, Notes from an Unfinished Education by Jennine, Capó, Crucet. This is a series of essays, and I believe they're about race and ethnicity in the university, like her talking about her experiences, which I feel like I will probably connect very much to, and I'm really looking forward to reading this one. Next is a book that I picked up. Why did I pick up this one? Because it's the first in a series. Oh, I remember. All right, why I picked up this one. It's the first in a cozy mystery series. And I picked it up because I saw this book first. This was Jenn McKinlay's Word to the Wise, and it's got a picture of a schnauzer on the cover that looks a lot like my dog, and so I really wanted to buy this book. But it's like, you know, it's part of a series. It's the Library Lovers Mystery Series, and so I went ahead and picked up the first one in the series, which is Books Can Be Deceiving. And that way, apparently the schnauzers and a lot of the covers in the series, so I will probably just end up reading most of them because, you know, my dog's in the cover. It's a bit of a ridiculous thing, but like, I love my dog and I love seeing pictures of him all over the place. All right, next is a book I picked up while I was in Montana. One of the things I love doing while traveling is, of course, going into bookstores, and because I can kind of justify those purchases as part of my travel budget, it's fun for me. So this is Olivia Waite's The Lady's Guide to Celestial Mechanics. This is a female-female romance that looks delightful, and it was chosen as kind of a book by the Rip Bodice that a bunch of romance book clubs read all during the summer. So it looks fantastic, and I can't wait to get to it. Another book that I picked up while traveling was George Simenon, I think is how you say the last name, Pietr the Latvian. This is a detective story, and it's the first in a series. It takes place in France. It's the Detective Marais series, and I think it's set in Marseille. I think that's what it was. Yeah, Inspector Marais. All right. Yeah. Yes. So I don't know a ton about it. It looked like a really cool mystery set in France, and I've been keeping an eye on it for a long time. So when I saw it at a bookstore in Montana, I had to pick it up. Next book I found just browsing one of the bookstores in Montana. This is Murder in the Marais by Cara. This looks like it's also part of a series. It's set in Paris, and it's murder mystery. Like, that's all I needed to know. I never heard of this book or this author, but it sounds like all of her mysteries are set in Paris, and I'm like here for all of that. The next book was a book that a student suggested, and when he first suggested it, I didn't know that I had already read part of it. But this is Storm of Steel by Ernst Jünger. It's a German name, so I know I'm mispronouncing it. It's a World War I memoir, and this is a gorgeous copy of it, but I'm not going to be able to get to this book anytime soon, and a lot of it is because the soldier had very different experience than a lot of other soldiers do during World War I, and that most have a very negative experience, and it sounds like he is just loving the militarism, the nationalism, all of that, and so I'm just not in the mood for this at the moment, but and I've read sections of it already, so this will be left for a later time. Next is a graphic novel that I picked up. This is volume 2 in Mostress. This is The Blood. I have volume 1, and yeah, the artwork in here looks gorgeous, and it's a story that I've heard. Oh, look at this page. Okay, I'm really looking forward to getting to this graphic novel series. Next, I bought Bruja Born by Zoraida Córdova. I just read Laborat Lost and really enjoyed it. It's the story of a family of witches, and in the first story you follow one of the sisters who is basically rejecting her magic, and then ends up disappearing her family into another world, and then has to go and find them and rescue them. This is the sequel to that, and it takes place, it follows another one of the sisters. It looks like Lula, and it deals with the aftermath of everything that happened in the first book. Really looking forward to reading this one as well. Next is one of my Akwaeke books. I think this was one of the books for September. They included 2 books in that box. This is one of the Penguin Horror Classics, and this is The Haunting of Hill House by Shirley Jackson. I've actually heard really great things about this book, and I am so glad that it was included in this box because I really want to read it. It also included in that box was The Bone House by Emly Lloyd-Jones, and I don't know very much about this. It looks like it is about kind of raising the dead. It is YA, and it's about a kid whose family runs a graveyard. So, things are gonna ensue, I'm guessing, here, but actually this sounds like up my alley, so I am looking forward to reading that one as well. Next is a book that I am really looking forward to, and that is Pet by Akwaeke Emezi, and they wrote Freshwater, which is a book that I loved, and this is their YA debut, and also looks fantastic. It looks like it's about a teenager who sees something, monsters, and the adults are not listening, and it looks like it'll be a really gorgeous allegory about probably race, sexuality, transgender issues. I am so here for this book. Next up, I had to do it because BookTube made me. This is Gideon the Ninth by Tamsyn Muir, and this is about necromancers. And that's really all I needed. My Barnes & Noble had one of the copies with the sprayed edges, and so I had to pick it up. It also does look up my alley, perfect for this time of year, so I am glad to have it. The next book that I bought because Moreno-Garcia announced on her Twitter that this book is out of print. It is The Beautiful Ones by Moreno-Garcia. This is a kind of set in the 19th century, and a book about manners, but it's also sci-fi or fantasy. Yeah. Telekinesis is in, there's some telekinesis and stuff. Yeah, I don't know a whole ton about it, but I know after reading certain dark things, I really wanted to read more Moreno-Garcia, and I wanted to get a hold of this before it becomes difficult to get a hold of. Right now, even though it's out of print, you can still get a hold of it. I found it online without any problems, but as more time passes, I have a feeling it might become harder to get a hold of, and so I needed it. Next up was another book where BookTube and Bookstagram made me buy it, and this is The Beautiful by Renee Adeye. This is a story about vampires in New Orleans, and there's been some mixed reviews, but a lot of people that I follow on Instagram were reading it and really enjoying it, and that kind of, it just sold me on it. And yeah, I want to read it. And then one of the last books I have here is Dominicana by Angie Cruz. So this is a book about an immigrant Dominican woman who looks like she's going to be like forced into marriage with someone, and as a way of helping her family immigrate. And it's a historical novel set in 1965, and it takes place in the Dominican Republic and in New York City. I saw Priscilla over at Bookie Charm talk about it, and like she posted a quote from this book on Instagram, and it just like I knew I had to read it because I know I'm going to connect with a lot of the themes in this book, and it also looks just really great. So I'm happy to have this one as well. Excuse my technical difficulties. My camera apparently stopped recording the very end of that haul, but fortunately I only had 2 books left to discuss, and they were the Owl Crate books for October. We got 2 books in that box. The first one is I Hope You Get This Message by Farah Nasrishi, and I don't know very much about this book. The naked cover makes it seem like it's going to be sci-fi, computerish, and oh yeah, definitely looks. It starts with when news stations start reporting that Earth has been contacted by a planet named Alma, the world is abuzz with rumors that the alien entity is giving civilization only a few days before they hit the kill switch. That sounds really up my alley, so I'm actually really looking forward to that one. The second Owl Crate book in October was Crier's War by Nina Varela. I've heard some really great things about this. I hear it's fantasy with queer characters, and I am here for all of it. So I actually really need to get started reading some of my backlist Owl Crate books, and this might be where I actually start because it sounds great. And then November's box came in last week or a couple weeks ago, and it is a Winterwood by Shea Earnshaw. This is a like magical forest type of story with witches. It's so YA fantasy, again kind of up my alley, even though I don't know all that much about this book. It also has sprayed blue edges and a gorgeous naked hardback. So I am happy that I got this. I have to say though, at some point I will make a video about my Owl Crate experience. I've had a great experience overall, but one thing that I have not been good at is getting to reading these books, and that is one of the things I'm going to be focusing on for 2020. Alright, because I'm filming this in November, I thought I would just go ahead and include the books that I bought in November because it's only 3 of them. The first is Dorothy L. Sayers' Whose Body. This is the first in the A Lord Peter Wimsey mystery series. This book was actually, or series was actually recommended to me by Cousin over at Always Doing. And I'm not sure if she remembers this because I think this is one of like the first videos she commented on my channel where she recommended the audiobooks of this series. But the first one's not available, and she actually said that it's a good idea to read the first one in physical copy because the audiobook is not narrated by the same person. So I'm actually really glad that I picked this up to my used bookstore. It looks like a really nice, like unread copy, so I'm glad. The second book I also picked up at the used bookstore, and it was a rare find because it's a recent release. Wilder Girls by Rory Power is a very, very recent. It's horror, YA, I believe with queer characters as well. I've heard some good things, and it's just so rare that some of these new releases are like that. I see them at the used bookstore. So when I saw it, I just picked it up because I was, mildly interested, and for a significant discount, I thought it was very worth it. Lastly, the last book I picked up is also at the used bookstore. This is Nora Roberts' The Obsession. This is a book that I picked up because of Mara over at Books Like Whoa. She actually mentioned this book in a couple of different videos. It was in a romance recommendation, and I think like where to get started with romance. and then a Nora Roberts video that she did. And this is one of her favorite books, and I have been on a good roll with Nora Roberts. I used to read her a lot when I was younger, but I have been getting back into her in the last few years, reading the In Death series. I've been accumulating a few of her older standalone books, and I think I'm ready to just binge read a bunch of Nora Roberts in the near future, so stay tuned for that. But those are the books that I have been accumulating in recent times. I go a little bit crazy in October because this is my birthday month, yeah, if you have read any of these, make sure and let me know so that I can kind of arrange them accordingly in my TBR. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.